Spider-Man Far From Home will close Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man Far From Home is finally swinging into theaters next week, making it the first film set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe post-Avengers Endgame. With this gargantuan task in mind, Far From Home certainly has a lot of questions to address, like, what exactly does the MCU look like after the events of the re-snapping? How will Far From Home close out the MCU's Phase 3? And the biggest question of them all, are the Property Brothers going to help the Avengers rebuild their headquarters?
What just happened?
Luckily, it looks like we're getting the answers to some of these questions. Care of the Marvel mastermind, Kevin Feige, who is currently hitting the press tour to promote the latest Spider-Man film, and he is shedding some light on how Far From Home will tie up Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, before we go any further, we wanted to mention that this episode of Nerdist News will be relatively spoiler-free for Spider-Man Far From Home, but it will most certainly not be spoiler-free for Avengers Endgame. So if you haven't seen Endgame, you're in luck, because it's coming back to theaters this weekend with a bunch of bonus features, which in no way are there to entice you to see a movie that you've already watched half a dozen times so that Kevin Feige can beat James Cameron for the #1 movie of all time. So, semi-spoiler warning, question mark?
What the
Still here, great. Thanks to the folks over at comicbook.com, they caught up with Feige and asked him how Spider-Man Far From Home would close out Phase 3, to which he had this to say. We've been working for many years on Infinity War and Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. Those were the films that were culminating the entire Infinity Saga of the MCU. And as we were working on Endgame, we realized that the true end of the entire Infinity Saga, the final film of Phase 3, had to be Spider-Man Far From Home because, spoiler, we lose Tony Stark at the end of Endgame. That definitely does track. Tony was one of the main characters of the entire Infinity Saga, and he had been serving as Peter Parker's mentor prior to his snap-induced demise. Feige then expanded on all this, sharing details on Tony's role in Peter's growth in the MCU and how it impacted making Far From Home the end of Phase 3. The relationship between Peter Parker and Tony Stark is so special over the 5 films that Tom Holland has portrayed Spider-Man in the MCU that we needed to see where his journey went and see how does Spider-Man step out of the shadow of his mentor, Tony Stark, and become the true hero that he was always meant to be. And it's for that reason that Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home are essentially 2 pieces of the same story, and it's not over yet until Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, we've seen this sentiment visually echoed in the Spider-Man Far From Home trailers and posters, with Peter looking to monuments and memorials dedicated to Tony's legacy and tearing up a number of times. It appears that Far From Home will directly address Peter's loss and how that loss will push him forward as a hero, while also serving as an epilogue to Tony's story in Avengers Endgame, showing how the world remembers him and his heroic efforts. Of course, Kevin Feige wasn't the only one talking about Avengers Endgame's effects on the MCU itself. Zendaya also chatted with the folks at Fandango about how MJ was affected as a character by the snap. The snap kind of puts our characters in a special place because now we come back and the world's kind of changed and we all have to kind of depend on each other a little bit more because we're like the oddballs now. We kind of have to confide in each other with that experience, and that's cool. Between the snap and return to life, along with the weird loss of 5 years of their lives, it seems like the teens in Spider-Man Far From Home are going to have a lot more to deal with than awkward romantic tension and hormones. Early reactions to Far From Home are saying that the film really balances all of its elements together well: the teen romance, the MCU fallout, the action, and so much more. So that all being said, after Far From Home, what's next for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, specifically Phase 4? Kevin Feige has been dropping hints, and by hints we mean legit quotes, that we'll find out more details about the future of Marvel at San Diego Comic-Con and most likely the D23 Expo as well. So we'll just have to wait a few short weeks to find out what's going to happen going forward in the MCU. But what do you folks think? What are you hoping to see out of Spider-Man Far From Home and the end of Phase 3? Where do you want Marvel to go in Phase 4? And because Spider-Man Far From Home is going to Italy, do you think there will be an homage to Tobey Maguire's iconic "Pizza Time" line from Spider-Man 2?
Pizza time.
Let's discuss. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and mash that little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video or go live with the show. And if this isn't enough Spider-Man, check out our latest mashup, Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, which teams up Tom Holland's Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Truly the most ambitious crossover of all time.